What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be going through my 4K Blu-ray collection. So I did my Steelbook collection fairly recently this week, so I've got some of them that are in 4K, so I'm just going to run through those quickly because I've already shown them already. Halloween 2018 4K, Godzilla King of the Monsters 4K, Ang Lee's 2003 Hulk in 4K, and the Incredible Hulk in 4K. So let's get on to the actual collection. Not a big collection, but I'm quite happy with it as it stands. First up is The Matrix. I absolutely love this film. Not yet got around to checking out the 4K transfer on this, but maybe it will be one that I check out soon. I'm terrible at watching what I have, guys, you know me by now. But yeah, The Matrix, I love this slipcover on this 4K disc. It's absolutely beautiful. Yeah, I've heard fairly good things about the 4K transfer, but I'm looking forward to checking this out and making up my own mind. 4K that my friend said it was a film made for me, giant monster movies with The Rock. Sounds great. Not seen it yet, but it was really cheap in CEX, like £6, with a really nice slip cover. The Rampage logo has got a nice spot gloss there. Yeah, a film I'm looking forward to checking out. It might be one I watch soon, but yeah, Rampage. Next up is a really nice 4K. Great transfer on this. A Halloween staple for me. Hocus Pocus. Such a nostalgic film for me as well. This was a subscriber mail from Phil 4K Baker. So Phil, thank you for this. I do appreciate it. This was one of my first 4K titles that I received from a subscriber. So yeah, Phil, thank you so much for this. Yeah, Hocus Pocus. It's got a great transfer. It's a Halloween staple. I love it. Next up, it's also a subscriber mail from Phil Baker. This Pacific Rim, what can I say about this movie? Giant robots versus giant monsters. It's awesome. I love this film, and the 4K transfer on this is absolutely stellar. One of the best 4K discs out there at the moment. I do believe that wholeheartedly. A lot of complaints for this film were that it was too dark in theaters, and this 4K really does help bring this film, you know, into light. Bring this film. It's almost like a new film when you put this on in 4K. It's absolutely brilliant. Next up is V for Vendetta. I only picked this film up solely because it was on a 2 for 25 deal in the summertime at HMV. It is still sealed. I have not got around to checking this out yet, so I don't know what the transfer is like, but it is a film I fairly enjoy. And yeah, looking forward to checking it out on 4K. I'm hoping it's good. Next up is one of the greatest, in my opinion, one of the greatest comic book films ever. That is Joker. Joaquin Phoenix is absolutely just unbelievable in his performance in this. It is a harrowing tale about basically mental health, the state of society, and basically if you push the wrong people into a corner, they will basically snap and basically yeah, bite your fucking head off. It's a great character study, and this 4K disc is absolutely beautiful. A great transfer for a great movie. One of my favourite comic book films ever. Next up is a film that really surprised me when it came out. Obviously, it's typical with these Hollywood films. They try to build a universe. Instead of making a good film first and seeing that succeeds, they want to start pitching for universes and making more movies. Unfortunately, that happened for this film, which is the Saban Power Rangers movie reboot. I really like this movie. I had a great time at the theatres seeing this when this came out back in like 2017, I want to say. Really good movie. It invokes all the magic of Power Rangers that I kind of experienced growing up as a kid. This 4K disc is spectacular as well, so that always helps. A great 4K disc on here. It sets up a universe and fails. It bombed tremendously at the theatres, and it has the most egregious use of product placement ever.
Must get to the Krusty Kremes.
300. I bought this alongside V for Vendetta, you know, 2 for 25 deal in HMV back in the summer of 2021. It was a while ago. Do like this movie. I don't love it like a lot of people I do know do, but I thought I love the slip on this, and I think this probably is going to be quite a decent 4K disc. I'm not too sure because it's still sealed. I've not actually watched this yet. Do know that it's a 2K intermediate disc. I'm trying to like not be too worried about that because some 2K transfers can look absolutely stellar. So I'm looking forward to seeing what this looks like on 4K. Next up, one of my favourite films, if I did like a top 30 movies, this will be in there, and that is Ridley Scott's Gladiator with Russell Crowe. Absolutely outstanding, this movie. Unbelievable. I saw this in theatres in Malta, where it was filmed. I used to have an uncle that lived there for many years and used to go on holiday a lot, and we went there when this film came out, and it was great. This is one of my dad's favourite movies. He did love this movie. It's a film that he always could put on and watch. But yeah, not checked out the 4K on this yet, but I'm sure this will look absolutely spectacular. Next up is a recent pickup, maybe a couple of months ago, a few months ago I picked this up, The Dark Crystal. I have somewhat nostalgic memories for this film, but I don't have complete nostalgia for it. So I'm looking forward to checking this out and having a revisit. It's absolutely completely sealed, so I have no clue what this 4K transfer is like. I remember this film coming out and it being all the rage for, like, you know, the kung fu martial art movies. Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. I basically bought this because I really wanted to revisit this film.
I still haven't, by the way.
But this was like £13 on eBay, brand new. It's still sealed, and I just picked it up. I thought it was a great price for a sealed 4K of a film that I really want to check out, you know, revisit. It's taking me ages to actually get to it, but I'm gonna get there. Next up is one of my favourite action films, sci-fi films of all time, and that is Predator. I absolutely love this film. When it comes to pound for pound Arnold Schwarzenegger action films, this is up there as one of his best. You don't think of Arnold Schwarzenegger when you watch this movie. It's not like an Arnold Schwarzenegger vehicle. It is just a pound for pound masculine, awesome action film with a great antagonist in the Predator. 4K is very good as well. Absolutely love the 4K transfer on this. I think it looks great, and I recommend people pick up the 4K. I think it's great. One of the greatest sequels of all time, that is Evil Dead 2 on 4K. Not got around to checking this out yet, unfortunately, but I've heard that it's a pretty decent upscale, so I'm looking forward to checking it out. I've done this backwards, but next up is this really nice edition of the Evil Dead on 4K. This is a French release. A really nice edition that kind of disappointed me. On the back it says that this should play at 16:9 ratio, aspect ratio, but they don't. It plays at 4:3, and that is kind of disappointing for me. I was looking forward to a really good 4K disc with a 16, you know, the full picture, so to speak, not a square box to watch the film in. So let me know. I could have my information incorrect. That could be the true way to watch the Evil Dead, but you know, as far as I'm aware, it's telling me it should be at, you know, 16:9 aspect ratio, and it doesn't play at that, and there's no option to change that either. But I'll do some more investigating, and hopefully this will go from being a disappointing release to a great one, because the actual packaging is fan-fucking-tastic. Next up is a film I had to get on 4K because shout out to John over at Mondo Chevek Movies. He did a great review of this film on specifically for the 4K version, and that is Jaws on 4K. I opted for this really nice North American release of Jaws on 4K. It comes in a nice slipcase with a nice lenticular cover. It's still sealed. I'm quite scared to open this. It's such a nice edition that I didn't really want to open it, but I need to check it out eventually. It's one of those timeless movies that just it never gets old. It is fucking pound for pound, 10 out of 10 movie. Looking forward to checking out the 4K at some point. It's a really nice edition that I just haven't opened yet. If you want more information on the 4K, go and check out John from Mondo Chevek Movies review of this, because it's a very comprehensive review of the 4K disc. I'll drop a link in the description. Another set that I have not watched yet, which is the Second Sight 4K set of Dawn of the Dead. One of the quintessential zombie films ever made by the master of the genre, of course. This has 3 cuts. This has the theatrical cut, the extended cut, and also the Argento cut. I bought it solely because I was really interested in checking out that Argento cut, especially in 4K as well. Once again, it's like me, I'm terrible at this. I've not actually checked this out yet. It is definitely on the docket for sure. But yeah, that is Dawn of the Dead in 4K, the Second Sight release. Thor on 4K. This was also a subscriber mail from Phil Baker. So Phil, thank you a lot for this. I didn't see much to kind of write home about when it concerns this 4K transfer for this kind of movie. Getting the resolution bump, but there's not much there that I could say it's worth really upgrading from the Blu-ray. But that's just me. Your mileage may vary, but that's Thor on 4K. A 4K sent to me by Keith of Euphoria Pictures. He kindly just said he had a couple of 4Ks to send me, and he sent me Batman v Superman. This is a film that I've kind of grown on me a little bit after basically seeing it in theatres, not particularly liking it very much, and then giving it a rewatch on 4K. And yeah, I think the transfer is fairly decent for what it is. And yeah, I quite like the film. It has a lot of problems, of course, but I think Ben Affleck as Batman is great. I love Henry Cavill as Superman. Gal Gadot is my celebrity love, and also she's Wonder Woman, and she's pretty great as Wonder Woman. Yeah, as for problems, you know, the whole Doomsday final act is a bit kind of rushed. They could have waited. They could have done a Man of Tomorrow, a Man of Steel sequel, and done that storyline. But overall, it's fairly entertaining for what it is. And yeah, the 4K is not too bad. The other 4K that Keith sent me is Spider-Man Far From Home. I watched this fairly recently. Me and Sophie went to see the new Spider-Man. I had already seen it, but Sophie really wanted to see it on the big screen. But she hadn't seen this before, so we stuck this on. She loved this one, and obviously she really loved the new Spider-Man No Way Home. But yeah, this is still a great, I think it's a great 4K transfer. I love this slipcover on this. And what I like about it as well is that it has a different cover for the actual case. Really nice US edition 4K here. It's one of those slimmer cases in the US. But yeah, really good 4K. Yeah, really good. Next up is one of my favourite releases on 4K that I own. Probably my favourite 4K I actually own, I think, which is the HMV Cine Edition exclusive Godzilla 2014. This edition is absolutely packed with little goodies and postcards and a bunch of stuff. The main thing to take away from the 4K of Godzilla 2014 is how great the transfer is. The transfer for this movie has basically fixed a lot of the negative impressions this movie garnered when it came out in 2014. How it was too dark and you couldn't see anything. This new restoration, this 4K restoration, basically it feels like you're watching a brand new film. It looks absolutely spectacular, and for me, for my money, this is a 10 out of 10 Godzilla film. I absolutely adore this film, and this 4K of it just makes it that much more impressive and entertaining to watch, because you're getting such a remarkable image quality on this 4K. And this Cine edition is beautiful, isn't it? That back art is just mwah, chef's kiss. Is so nice. But yeah, I think this is still fairly readily available on HMV's website. I could be wrong. This isn't completely sold out to my knowledge. Definitely worth it if you're into Godzilla, and definitely worth it if you're looking for the 2014 Godzilla on 4K. It's fucking incredible. Next up is The Fog, John Carpenter's The Fog on 4K. I do want to get all the John Carpenter 4K discs at some point. I've got a few of them at the moment, but I haven't got all of them. But yeah, The Fog, a film I've not seen in about 10 to 15 years. I remember watching it when I was fairly young, didn't care for it that much. Watched it when I was a bit older, maybe I think I was about 18 years old or 20 years old, liked it a lot more. But as a 30-something adult, I have not revisited this film. And what a perfect way is to get the 4K. Not actually watched it yet because I'm terrible, as you know.
There's a trend in this video, and it is me not actually fucking watching my 4Ks.
When I discovered that my TV was 4K, after 6 fucking years, when I discovered my TV was 4K, the one film that I knew I would get immediately when it was announced was John Carpenter's 1982 creature monster classic sci-fi thriller horror craziness, The Thing. When this was announced, guys, I couldn't wait to pre-order this disc. I couldn't wait, and I just picked it up. But guess what? Yep, I haven't watched it yet. I'm terrible. Shoot me now. Whatever. I'm just waiting for that right time when I really fancy watching this movie. This movie is so rewatchable, but it's like I usually get that hankering where I'm just like, I really want to watch the thing. So I'm waiting for that to happen to experience this in 4K. There's a lot of mixed reactions to this 4K transfer. I can't comment on any of them, but based on people that I trust, it's apparently really good, and some people don't know what they're talking about, apparently. Not my words, other people's words. Yeah, I'm looking forward to this. There's always a time for this movie. I'm waiting for that time to pop up in my life. My last John Carpenter 4K is his classic Halloween. Yep, I had to pick this up. It was on the 2 for 30 deal in HMV. I picked this up with The Fog, actually, together. I can't really say much more about this film. It's the greatest slasher film ever made. It's pitch perfect in my opinion. The atmosphere is unbelievable. The soundtrack is fantastic. The theme is one of the most iconic horror themes of all time. I'm looking forward to checking it out in 4K. Because yeah, not actually opened it yet. Next up is a film from 2021 that I don't think is particularly good, but it's a ton of fun, guys. A ton of fun. And the 4K is actually excellent. I was really surprised. And that film is Mortal Kombat. I have a lot of fun with this movie. I think it's bad, but I have a lot of fun with it. 4K transfer is great. It looks fantastic in 4K, guys. Honestly, pick up the 4K because it just looks spectacular. This film has a lot of problems. It kind of like, for me, kind of has all the gore but forgets the lore of Mortal Kombat. There's a lot of decisions in this film that kind of don't make sense to me. And obviously the big bugbear for a lot of people that are Mortal Kombat fans with this movie is there's actually no actual Mortal Kombat tournament in this movie. It's a lot of fun though, right? It's a lot of fun. Kano probably steals the show in terms of like characters with the best dialogue. Sub-Zero and Scorpion are still awesome. Probably the greatest depictions of those characters in live action. But yeah, the 4K disc here is very, very good. This is definitely a film that I highly recommend you pick up on 4K. Next up is a box set. Really nice box set. I'm really impressed with this set actually, and that is the Jurassic Park trilogy collection on 4K. It comes with Jurassic Park, well, Lost World Jurassic Park and Jurassic Park 3. As you go through these, they get better and better. Jurassic Park looked fantastic, probably the best that film's ever looked. The same with the Lost World, but I think it looks even better than Jurassic Park in terms of the 4K transfer. And then Jurassic Park 3, even though I think it's the weakest out of these three movies, it looks incredible in this 4K transfer. I was unbelievably blown away by how clean, crisp and beautiful the transfer on Jurassic Park 3 looked. So yeah, that is the Jurassic Park 4K trilogy, and I'd say it's a must buy. It's a fantastic set. Next up is a odd one. So I was sent a subscriber mail from Phil Baker ages ago. This must have been like beginning of last year. It was a while ago, a long while ago. And he sent me a steelbook of Psycho, but he also included the 4K and the 4K Blu-ray discs as well, but they were just on their own, just in the box, in little sleeves as the discs, right? So what I did is I bought a 4K case and I printed off a 4K artwork for it. I watched this recently and this is a unbelievably good transfer. I expected as much. I expected this to be an amazing 4K transfer, and it really is. This film has never looked so clean in its life. It looks absolutely spectacular. And yeah, I'd highly recommend the 4K of Psycho. This is going to ruffle some feathers, this next one. Ghostbusters Afterlife came out very recently, and it's fantastic. What a movie. It's going to look amazing in 4K. I don't own the other Ghostbusters movies, as in 1 and 2. But I was sent a subscriber mail by Pete of Blu-ray Bullet Brit. And he sent me Ghostbusters, the 2016 reboot. The film that nobody likes. I just wanted to see what all the fuss was about with this one. You know, it's got a lot of hatred. There's a lot of people that don't like this movie. And not being a massive Ghostbusters fan, I thought maybe I could just get some enjoyment from it. The 4K transfer for this is underwhelming. The film is underwhelming. Is it awful? Is it dog shit awful? No, I wouldn't say go that far. But what it does is fairly just a mediocre comedy that isn't very funny. And I probably won't watch it again. Next up is probably one of the best, not the best 4K discs, but one of the best 4K discs in my opinion, Kong Skull Island. This film looks fucking incredible on 4K. The film, for me, is a 10 out of 10 fucking monster movie. I absolutely adore this movie. The 4K transfer on this is unbelievable. I remember watching the Blu-ray before I got any 4Ks. I watched the Blu-ray and it was upscaled in 4K and I was actually mind blown. I said to myself, how can this Blu-ray upscale, how can it be bettered? That's how. The 4K is miles better. Holy shit, this is an amazing 4K disc for an amazing film. I love this movie. If you're in the market for some monster action and you want some Kong in your life, this film in 4K is the way to go. Godzilla versus Kong. Yeah, this is probably the best 4K disc I own. It's incredible. The colours, the crisp edges, everything about this movie in 4K is unbelievable. I don't know if the CG effects were rendered in 4K because the CG in this is next level and it in 4K is just unbelievable. Godzilla looks absolutely menacing. Kong looks absolutely remarkable with his fur and everything like that. His facial expressions, the facial details in Kong is unbelievable. This is probably one of the new standards in terms of 4K discs. This is a must buy for a showcase in 4K and HDR. This is unbelievable and I cannot recommend this 4K disc enough. It is brilliant. The Godzilla film no one likes, except for maybe me. But yeah, there's Godzilla 98. One of my favourite movie posters of all time. It's a complete lie because he's not that big in the movie, but I digress. Pretty good 4K disc. I actually was pleasantly surprised by the transfer on this. I don't hate this movie. I just don't think it's a very good Godzilla film. It's a good, fun monster movie, but aside from that, it's not a very good Godzilla movie. But I've spoken about this so much, it's unbelievable. Yeah, but yeah, the 4K, surprisingly good. I would recommend the 4K of this to people that like this movie because it's pretty decent. Scream on 4K. I haven't had a chance to check out the 4K transfer on this yet. This is a very, very new pickup for me. This is probably the latest 4K release that I've picked up recently. But I'm hoping it's going to be good. I'm hoping it's going to be a great 4K transfer. But yeah, Scream, what more can I say? It's a 10 out of 10 slasher movie. It's a fucking masterpiece. I love it. It's awesome. And yeah, I'm sure it's going to deliver on 4K. Alien on 4K. This film looks absolutely majestic in 4K. It looks so good. The retro future aesthetic just looks so clean in 4K. Yeah, I can't really say much more than that. This film looks great. It's a timeless movie. It's one of my favourite horror films of all time. I absolutely adore this movie. And yeah, to experience it on 4K was something quite special in my opinion. And I really do recommend this 4K disc. Please give us Aliens, because how that is not out yet, I don't know. But yeah, Alien is really good on 4K. We're getting to the last few now, guys. I've got Die Hard on 4K. I've not actually watched this, which is weird because we just had Christmas, so it would have been prime time to watch it. Didn't get around to watching this over Christmas period for some reason, but I've heard it's a pretty good 4K transfer. I can't really comment on it myself because I've not watched it yet, but as soon as I got into 4K, Die Hard was a no-brainer. The last two here are just Jurassic World. Yeah, it looks fine. It's probably the best it's ever looked. It's not the greatest 4K ever, but it still looks decent. Don't know if I could recommend it over the Blu-ray. I can't remember what I said in my initial review of this, but yeah, I don't know. I thought it was okay for what it was. The same goes for Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. Yeah, pretty decent 4K. Nothing mind-blowing, but probably that little bit better than the Blu-ray. But yeah, that is everything. That is the last of it, guys. That is my 4K collection. Let me know if there's any titles in here that you have, or any titles you think I should pick up on 4K, and let me know some of your favourite 4K releases in the comments down below, and let me know if there's any 4K releases coming out that you're definitely going to be jumping on. I'm really still hoping for that Aliens bloody 4K. Oh, and also that Godzilla 954 4K, because I've just put out a 4K restoration in theatres that I saw last November.
Give us the 4K, please.
That's it, guys. That's everything in this video. As always, if you like what you see here and you want to see more, maybe consider becoming a subscriber, Runu. It really means the world to me, and you'll be notified every time I upload a video. As always, guys, I have been Jason, and I need to get to watch my actual 4Ks and actually watch them.